And got it.
Islam. I guess let me come off of this for 1 second since we gotta get it started right. I know y'all can see me now for a second. I will be throwing this back on the charger. But Islam. I am Brother Hasan Bey, all rights reserved, and I'm here with my beloved brother in whom I am well pleased. My magnificent bros, and he goes by.
I am Brother Namaste. Islam. Yeah, I am Brother Hasan Ghaziel Bey here at Morocco at northwest of Maxim. How are you? Let's do this, man.
Islam. Today we're gonna actually continue what we were doing last, was it Sunday?
Correct.
Which was the jurisprudence page on RBA publication. Do you want me to share for that?
Yeah, man, do your thing.
All right. So this is where we're at with it. I gotta put this over here to charge, so I'll be back on this camera. All right. So we were at regarding the UCCs, right? We already went over this entire section here, the preliminary study regarding UCC's uniform commercial codes. So we're just gonna dive right into it. After that, we'll have like a few statutes to get into to kind of show you the trickery in the language, on how they get you to operate as a federal agent without you really knowing. So let's start. We just started back from the top because I think we had read these two paragraphs, if I'm not mistaken, but we'll go ahead and recap, right? So regarding the UCCs by Taj Bey, keep in mind that the commercial codes essentially and factually means codes for trafficking and to carry on trade, right? That's performing the functions of public office, whether you're
correct
operating a business or not as franchisee, right?
Correct.
My question, or my first question to you is, quote, do you have a clear understanding of what birthrights and unalienable rights are, end quote. Are you aware that unalienable rights cannot be transferred to or sold to another? Commercial codes did not become uniform until about 1968, with Texas State Republic officials bowing to the pressure and agreeing to play the state of Texas fraud game of commercializing or trading the natural people's rights in collusion with the other compromised state officials and politicians. I suggest you study and enforce the Constitution for the United States Republic of North America and enforce the laws relative to your nationality and birthrights. Also keep in mind that the Constitution for the United States of America is the supreme law of the land and is derived from ancient Moorish jurisprudence. U.S. demo politicians, educators, and many other corporate persons operating at North America are members of the demos, are subversives and against the Constitution, having no allegiance to the Republic. They do not want you or any other aboriginals or citizens to be cognizant of this binding fact. Verily, many of the officers of the various ministerial courts / tribunals, not constitutionally sanctioned, are traitorous racketeers. Your racketeering influence, corrupt organization, who are working together with others to rob and to steal from the natural people. They are using their bought and sold seats in government to enforce fraudulent private color of law and systematically, let's look this word real quick, connive.
Hold on, man. Yeah, connive.
Like conniver from D12. Secretly allow something considered immoral, illegal, wrong, or harmful to occur. Wowzer. Let's do it, Iman.
Connive. Verb.
right?
Ooh-wee. It's like looking the other way.
Oh, snap. Quote, shut one's eyes. This is around 1600, circa 1600. It's a verb. Shut one's eyes to something one does not like, but cannot help. Cannot help, but will not help. I don't know about that. From Latin, conniver. Oh, no. Conivere. Also, conivere, to wink. Hence, figuratively, to wink at a crime, be secretly privy. From assimilated form of com, with, together, see con, plus base akin to nectar, to wink, right? From Proto-Indo-European root,
Nigua.
or nigua, yeah.
It looks like nigua, but yeah, the base is akin to nectar, to wink. So to wink together would be a blink then, wouldn't it? Let me stop.
Yeah, right. 2 winks is a blink. 2 winks is a blink. I'll be there in 2 winks and a blink.
Basically.
See, nicottate.
Nicottate.
1830 as, quote, concealed knowledge of a fault or crime of another. Don't they do that often?
They do that. That is their operations. That's why there's risk management departments, because everything they're doing is conniving practices.
Yeah, and they did a conniving act towards me by saying that the city is not liable for the claim I put in. Like, how are they not how are they not liable for a false imprisonment? What do you mean? They can falsely imprison people. So you're telling me that the city has the authority to falsely imprison people and not be liable for it? You're conniving. Give silent encouragement to a culpable person from 1797 as being secret complicitly. Right. It's just secretly, you just let it go on. So a lot of these people are actually conniving at these stores when they were telling people to put on their mask. But you got to put on a mask, but you know that's not law. You know you can't force one to actually go against their own breathing pattern, right? Like you can't obstruct one's breathing orifices by force. That's called strangulation. But you're gonna sit there and allow it to happen. They do that in the military all the time when bad stuff happens in the military, and then those who try to speak out, they usually get reprimanded some shape, way, or form. And this is what creates connivers as well. Fear.
Correct. People begin capitulating to the wrong for the sake of hold on, how do Americans say a weak ass excuse to keep a paycheck? I gotta take care of my family, I gotta do what I gotta do to just bend over and take it a little bit. Pause. But that's what you guys are doing. You're allowing yourselves to get fucked by immorality for the sake of Federal Reserve notes by which you have no contract or oath to even handle.
Exactly.
I yield.
Yes, and systematically connive to substitute the supreme law of the land with the foreign corporate policies and ordinances. That when I read that, I just immediately thought of everything adopted from the ULC. Like when they abandon the Constitution and adopt uniform laws, and then they actually use words in a certain way to where they want you to believe they're enforcing it a certain way when they're really enforcing it another way. It's all dealing with commerce, but they want you to believe that it's just for recreational. Yeah, no, even if it's recreational, you got to do this, you got to do that. When really it's all commercial. They're getting their finance off of that. So this is at the root of most of the common people's economic problems and the current lack of due process, railroading that is used to feed the penal industry. Many of the politicians and judges of the ministerial courts have invested interests in these profitable domestic POW, prisoners of war, camps, prisoners, and jails. These anti-republic institutions and the colorable acts of these officers are constructed to cause injury and to place their fraud-based and non-substantive implied contract originating debts upon the natural people.
Wow.
Okay, let me go. My bad. I kind of spaced out for a second. And to place their fraud based on non-substantive implied contract originating debts upon the natural people.
Which the natural people did not contract for.
Exactly. Because the debts actually belong to the United States, its subsidiaries, you know, its agencies, all that which is registered to it.
Correct.
So there can't be a debt by the natural people. There can't be a debt that the natural people have unless they naturalize into the fraud, which again, they still wouldn't be liable as soon as they comprehend that they're not liable, because fraud vitiates everything.
Correct.
So they find out it's a fraud, and it's like, oh, wait, hold on. All those obligations are gone if they were ever to be enforced upon he who did not know, who was volunteering, right? Truth about nationality birthright. Some of them have been promoting the use of Uniform Commercial Codes, UCCs, as a remedy for attaining sovereignty. Logically, anyone and everyone should be educated in the areas of contract law, due to the fact that we contract every day in some form or another when we are interchanging with others. However, I will remind you and others to recognize the integrity of the nation, that the sovereignty that many of the Europeans are arguing over is not their own, but is actually the sovereign rights of the Aboriginal indigenous Moors, whom the Europeans have colonized and usurped. The misrepresenting Europeans are debating among themselves with their corrupt rulers, who have in cabal with them robbed the Moors of their lands and of their birthrights. This land of Mexim/Africa/Americas is not Europe, and the sovereign powers over the land and the resources are not theirs, and never was theirs to possess, nor to claim jurisdiction over. Their claims are all of a corporate fiction character, artificially created on paper and fraudulently propagated to the world. Their success has root in blind faith and fiction altogether. You need a
Jesus Christ. Go here, bro.
You need a license to own anything.
Wow. You need a how you gonna get some liquor from the how you get some alcohol from the from the liquor store? Yo, without a license. Like, hey, little idiot. We Prophet Noble Drali said, boys, imitate I, your prophet. I don't drink, I don't smoke. However, I would say not to stop everything at once because you might hurt something. I'm paraphrasing. That's in the oral statements and prophecies, because I and Brother R just recently dealt with a retard. And I know some people like, you can't act like that. It was a time where y'all ain't know. I don't think so. I think we're being like the Helios Bibliothek says, after me will come a spirit that will teach you and remind you of all things. So if you're acting like you're hearing something for the first time, then you don't know what planet you're on. Because if you're here and you are hearing it for the first time, then please let us do your natal chart, get your mirror AstroLiteracy session. And I can definitely tell you if you're here for the second time. Most people I come across are. Very few people I meet are from separate star systems that have now incarnated here because either they're helping some other way or they need the experience here because they fucked up in the star system that they come from. So they've been incarnated in bodies here. Some of us, like myself, have volunteered to come back to assist, to the point where I trust that my consort that I have now and forever, you know, for this lifetime, next lifetimes, and all lifetimes afterwards, she's actually incarnated to be like, all right, it's time to come home. You've been down here, you've been lingering down here for 7 lifetimes. So how long ago, I mean, are they listening yet? That's really what I see. However, at the same time, not to get seemingly off topic, I think you guys are not recognizing where you are. So you have some beings like this one I and Brother Aura had encountered, that another brother had made sure we were able to speak to. And they really measure their life by the federal agency practices that they know nothing about. They'll mention things practiced, however, have no sincere foundation in what the fuck they're talking about. Did I say that right, or am I off, bro? I'm open for correction.
No, that sounds pretty accurate.
All right, I yield.
That's pretty accurate. Let's see. So their success has root in blind faith and fiction altogether. So that's the people blindly just believing what anyone tells them, because again, they outsource their thinking with regards to law to everyone but themselves. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The present fiat corrupted, fake economic political conditions, the defrauding of the people. Oh, this is a list. Okay.
Yeah, it is commas. Yeah.
The defrauding of the people of the United States and the world, etc., arises from their foul, entrenched Inquisition policies. They know this and work diligently to keep these Masonic secrets from you, the rightful heirs.
So hold on, time out. So the policy enforcers are enforcing Inquisition policy, and Masonic secrets are to be released and unveiled and not released, unveiled and discharged to the people.
Right.
The rightful heirs, actually. The rightful heirs, not anyone thinking that they're heirs. Like, you know, I'm really not seeking to upset, you know, the pale skin. However, the Moorish nation, you really read your Clock of Destiny book 2, it's made up of all of us, actually. It's just that there is a hierarchy to this. All righty. And because we were out of order at one point in time, we've now allowed ourselves to have, due to a bunch of sexual crossing, right, or cross-sexualization, as it says. Now you have, you know, the copper tone olive shade beings, which such as myself and Brother Aura, and then you have pale skins, who are the actual Black people, right? So since we're not a people that are like, let's just kill them off, you know, nature has to run its course. That's why the Albion daughters are really looking for Moorish sons to be with, right? However, some of us aren't meant to take on that Albion daughter. And there are some Albion sons that are looking for Moabite mothers to absorb them. However, that child, like all children, are what their mothers are. So I don't think it would be, you know, it's not in my cards to do cross-sexualization with that which was mixed with our genes in a chimpanzee. No offense, Albion daughters. I just not gonna be on my dick. However, the point that I'm making is there is a bloodening back process that is taking place on the planet. However, that's because there's some absorption of those beings that need to happen, even though they are subjects pertaining to the Moorish nation. However, they have thrown temper tantrums before. This is why you have the American Revolutionary War, because the Albion daughters that we kept in our harems were sad. Like, oh, I'm always February 15th. You know what I mean? So you already know how people look at the commercial. Valentine's Day is February 14th. You know, your side bitch is always, you know, the 15th. For those of you that participate in that, I'm just using your language so you can comprehend the comedy that's really going on in my head as I'm saying this. I'm just doing my best not to laugh, but it is what it is. So, you know, they have a sad womb. The first schoolroom is the womb. So since that's the case, the Albion daughter, you know, taught these beings that came from the coition between them and the Moorish sons, and them being sad about the fact that they're not being put first, is why their sons were raised up in order, in a way where they fought against their their fathers, which are the Moorish sons that kept these Albion daughters in harems. And now that harem is known as the Republic, as well as the women that head the harems now, or the ones that were seeking to get relief and remedy from the harems, now termed the Republic, is the Daughters of the American Revolution. And with that, I yield the floor.
Islam, bro.
Islam.
So they're basically saying right here too that the whole economic thing that's going on is fake, right? Political conditions, because they're creating it, it's by engineering, right? It's not by chance or fate. They're actually controlling the narrative. So it arises from their foul, entrenched Inquisition policies.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They know this and work diligently to keep these Masonic secrets from you, the rightful heirs. Their inner working conflicts over our silver, gold, and commerce reflects a truth that the divided and conniving thieves among them are bickering over ill-gotten booty and prize spoils, and are seeking moral arguments over its cheated hereditaments.
Jesus.
Let this first be made clear to all Moorish Americans. This is your lost estate. The land, the gold, the silver, and the commerce belong only to the true primogeniture, heirs, or heir citizens of the land. And
correct, not statutory heirs. Go ahead, I yield.
right, not statutory citizens. And to them alone.
Right, to us alone. To us. I know some people be like, oh, why is just the Moors? And we don't believe what the Moors are. And it's like, hey, look. We didn't make this up. We're just enforcing the Constitution. We're seeing what this is. There's an order. And every time that order gets bucked, you're having war on the land. There's no peace on the land. I guarantee it. I can see it because I've had glimpses of it, and I've had some moments in how it happens. And even in my immediate experience, I can see that this is true. When everybody goes back to being in order, unconscious Moors declare and proclaim your nationality, and all pale skins, all Albions, be the subjects that you naturally are. It's no such thing as racism. It's only the human race. Man, which is mine, and mankind, which those that are kind of like the mind, and those that are kind of like the mind that we Aboriginal Indigenous heirs are, not to use Aboriginal Indigenous as a separate people. That's just a description pertaining to what kind of heirs. All righty, because we know a lot of people out here with the autochthon melanated people. You're dumbasses, respectfully. You're still an idiot. Because you are not really taking on that which you need so that things can be peaceful. So you're still going to go through Negro Black colored stuff, calling yourself Black people and all that, when the Black people are the pale skins. Like, shout out to our loved ones at Jurisprudence Gem. However, and I'm saying this respectfully, like, the free white persons are like me and my brothers, those that are clear on what their nationality is, that are copper toned and or copper toned and or olive shade. However, the pale skin, which we call the Albion, quote unquote, is the Black person. So, like, shout out to Keith and Bobby. However, they're Black. They're the real, quote unquote, niggers, respectfully. Because I know some people from our lawful living fam, our Jurisprudence Gem, they're watching. And you guys know I don't hold anything back, and nor am I ever being mean or rude. However, every pale skin is the actual Black man or Black woman. I don't care what you think. I don't care what your emotions are. No, man, you can't do that. Why? Right? It's like saying, like, if we know a bitch is a female dog, but you got copper tone and olive shade people talk about, no, man, we bitch people, man. Don't be calling us dogs. It's like, time out. Time out. You first of all, you're not doing that when you speak. All righty. Second of all, you're not on all fours, right? So why would you call yourself the troglodyte nigger? When the troglodyte nigger is your pale-skinned sons and daughters. And again, I'm not being mean. I get it. Some people are going to have some cognitive dissonance and they're going to be mad, upset. We don't like Hasan. That's fine. That's fine. I don't give a fuck, because the truth is stern. It doesn't change nor pass away. So nationalize, like my brother has highlighted, is what's important. And all our pale-skinned sons and daughters must go back to that mindset pertaining to our ancient foremothers and fathers, and so do we. But you guys are subjects. I get it. You guys don't want, look, if you got an honorable worshipful master in your lodges, for those of you that wear your fez in secret because it's all jeweled up and tassel pinned down, look, you better find out what the fuck is really going on, because we're going to tell it freely. Our tassels flow freely, not pinned down in any way, shape, or form, right? So with that being said, we're going to tell the truth. For it's stern, it don't change, and it doesn't pass away. So be clear on what my bro just read, with the exclamation points of us really quoting what Brother Taj has published here, or has wrote, and Mother Ross Mariah published on rvbaypublications.com. Let this first be made clear to all, not just some, not just 11, because I know that ALL could look like 011. That's not just 11. All Moorish Americans, exclamation point. This is your lost estate, exclamation point. However, for you to recognize it's your lost estate, you have to regain your lost estate in your mind first. Because if you can't see it with your own eyes, that means your mind is doing some processing inside of it that is outside of airship. And I don't mean AIR ship, I mean HEIR ship. And don't let any pale skin try to tell you, oh, no, they ain't got it. No, we're telling you the complete fucking truth. And any honorable Albion son or daughter, that's the real black man or black woman here, okay? They'll be like, yeah, they're actually correct, yes. And they would do it with a like happiness to it, like, oh my God, mommy and daddy are back. Yes, they've regained their lost estate, which is the mind. I yield.
Yeah, while they checking off black on their on those applications they fill out, they're actually the furthest thing from it. Like, you're the last one that should be checking black, because you're the furthest.
All pale skin should be checking black. I yield.
Right. Well, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the Moors who check black on applications. They're the
Correct.
furthest. They're the furthest thing from it, but the only ones checking the box. Like, yo, that's crazy.
Correct.
So nationalize to get you out that corporate wardship status. And actually not. When you nationalize, you're telling them that you know that you're not playing Monopoly, that you know they're playing Monopoly, that you know you're not part of their administration, and you're not getting down with that. Nationalize as for the UCCs, know that Section 8 and Section 2 relates to those important aspects, right, which govern securities. Most of the people who sell UCC packages to the unstudied among us usually fail to emphasize this important fact. They will usually put highlights on sections 1 and 3. However, always remember this. A UCC 1 is to be filed only by one who, in commerce, already has a valid contract in the first instance. If this is not the precondition, then one has just created the jurisdiction of commercial trade of self, personam jurisdiction, which is not the intended outcome of the chosen UCC initiated action. In due course of time, all instruments built upon the fraud must fail, right? Because fraud vitiates everything. Declare your nationality and enforce the Constitution. The seller gets your limited energy regulating bookkeeping certificates, fiat, and the corrupt corporate state operative get windfall profits in filing fees. Tell me now, who has the average nationalized study all the aspects and implications of its political and social remedies? Are you telling me nationality has political and social remedies?
Right.
Yes, precisely.
Correct. Well, do you think, man? I'll be right back. Use a little Moore's run.
All right. Preliminary study on X-Rail, X-relation. Does presenting it void your proper status? When, why, and how to use it? X-Rail means an X relationship regarding information associated with the straw construct of the birth certificate nomen name. It can only be presented or argued by either the Attorney General or one who is of a natural status in propria persona, a flesh and blood natural being, which means one would have to be in their natural status, one who has declared their nationality. This brings life to the prophetic statement by Noble Drew Ali, wherein he said, if you don't do anything else, declare your nationality. Since he had already proclaimed it for the nation, after doing so, you can begin to fight these insubordinate constructs and violations made against you, which are outside of the law. Presenting ex rel does not void your proper natural/national flesh and blood status. The natural / in propria persona status presentment in court is the only condition wherein you can present or argue at ex rel of the straw man, because it, the straw, in itself cannot present or argue for itself, because it, the straw, is a corporate construct on paper. It is a corporate person. It is a natural person. It is not a natural person, not a natural flesh and blood being. It is a
Correct.
fiction that cannot speak for itself. Frankly, if you don't speak for it, they will, and that is exactly what they have been doing. X-Rail is the lawful remedy, no doubt, to refrain from using it or from using it against you in court. In a court of law, everything is based on information. Hence, verbal exchanges, speaking, answers, submission of documents or writs, affidavits of fact, which express or impart information, and writs of discovery, which ask questions that are in need of being answered by the court before the court can lawfully proceed. And lastly, the sentence, grammatical phrase applied to information, whether written or spoken. Contempt of court, usually based on what you say and do, or don't say or do, and how you say it or do it. Not to say they, demos, necessarily has respect for these facts, because in reality, they have contempt for you before you even get there. However, it is incumbent upon us all to enforce the law, and at this time, especially to eradicate the already falling institutions of lies and deceit of the pseudo courtrooms and of the law, as well to protect ourselves and teach our babies of the coming generations how to do the same. Our biggest weapon is the truth, information, and the concern for us is the method of getting the truth to the masses, of which newspapers, radio, World Wide Web, www, internet, television media, classes, etc., is at this time the venues for doing so.
Can you highlight every once in a while, bro, if you don't mind, just to keep the people, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Islam.
Yeah, as you're reading, you already know. Yeah, just as you're reading, just so people can see where you are.
All right. Yeah, definitely. All right. The purpose or point of information exchange in the courtroom is for them, the courts, of public opinion and lawful authority, to bring what is supposed to be justice or remedy to the body standing before it, whether that body is presented as flesh and blood, or represented as a straw. Of course, the straw has limited justice and remedy as it has privileges, not rights. Thus, it plays into the color game of color of law, a semblance of law, not the real, for colored people. The information that comes across leads to the sentencing, words, information. There is supposed to be an injury, or I'm sorry, an injured party that you have injured before you get there. However, usually it is not present because they usually base their injury on fictitious corporations that don't speak and can't speak. That's the state picking up the case in their own interest. They don't pick up the case of someone who's been injured for them, to benefit them or the people. They always do it with an interest of gaining finances, right? For the purpose of collecting taxes.
Yeah, when we found, to add to your wisdom, when we were, with our jurisprudence gym community, and shout out to Mother Malika, shout out to Sonny, and like I said, Keith and Bobby and everyone else that's there. When she had presented that Randy Lynn Erickson video that we had went like 7 hours on a few Fridays ago, right? And what we see is the state, which is actually a reference to who sits as the head of the so-called state of corporation, which would be the substitute bey, which is termed a governor. The governor is the one that's actually supposed to say, hey, Attorney General, delegate authority to this prosecuting attorney to pick up this case in the name of my seat, in the name of the state of whatever it is, or in the commonwealth of whatever it is, which is actually not the de jure standing. It's state ofs are commerce corporations, whereas the actual Appalachian state, like let's say state of Maryland, that's dealing with slave trade, trading the people's rights, their birthrights, and using that for commerce. Whereas Maryland State Republic is what is referred to at times as the de jure state, not the de facto. The de facto is state of Maryland. The de jure would be Maryland State Republic, where it still has nothing to do with the copper tone and olive shade beings. Even though we may put on our post correspondences, some people will call it mail, we will put near that particular corporation, city corporation, particular Appalachian State Republic, so that people that are under the statutory hypnosis that think that, oh, well, I got to be in the city, in the county, or in the state. We're doing that as a courtesy for you to find it. However, some people can use natural area codes, which codifies the quote unquote mailing location.
Right.
Which you would be better off just getting the coordinates. Okay, I'm at this longitude and this latitude. Actually. So it would be best for you to know that if the state is picking it up, or seemingly to you that don't know, that what's actually happening is without delegated authority, the prosecuting attorney is saying that they're picking it up in the name of the state. However, once they're complete, there is a bill, so to speak, or a statement of account sent to the treasurer pertaining to that state, asking for reimbursement pertaining to the practices that proceeded.
Because what are they claiming to enforce anyways? They're claiming to enforce the legislature's statutes for the state. And then when you go into those statutes and you look at any particular statute that they're enforcing, there's going to be a federal statute that they're either enforcing or that they're actually operating under.
Correct.
And,
correct. I yield the floor to you, bro. I yield.
Right. So then they tell you, right, the fictitious corporations that don't speak and can't speak. Then they tell you, right, these beings operating these corporations, that you have made some injury to Santa Claus, right? Because that's a fiction, right? Which is a fiction that can't be injured. This is one of the ways they have usurped and corrupted the justice system with knowledge of the difference between the flesh and blood natural being and a fiction corporate person.
Statutory
X-Rail,
person. Uh-huh.
X-Rail is effective, right? As it admits to having information. It admits to having information in regard to that fiction that cannot speak for itself. Of course. It makes you the authorized representative properly without bonds, ties, or contracts.
Jesus, read that again, because some people think you can only be an authorized representative if you're doing some type of commerce. No, you can. That's only under statute. However, if you're not under statute, however, we are multilingual, and we use a language for you to comprehend to, what's the word? How do Americans say, leave us the fuck alone? Then we can use that language that is necessary so that peace can continue between both parties. Hey, I get it. You're part of a fucking prison called a colony, and you're still in that colonized mindset. Cool. Do you? Bill of Rights 1 says you have the you have the right. There's no law respecting or prohibiting religion or the free exercise thereof. So if your religion is colonial thinking, go right ahead. Be a fucking clown.
Yeah.
Be a colonus. Be a clown, a colonus. Be a clown, a colonus. And allow yourself to continue to work the shop in your mind that way. However, just don't fuck with me. Just golden rule your situation. That's it. We don't fuck with you. Don't fuck with us. That's it.
Precisely.
I yield.
Islam. So it makes you the authorized representative properly without bonds, ties, or contracts. That fiction has been what you have been saying is you, therefore allowing your being to take hits for the fictitious charges on the fictitious entity. So they're saying that that's your fictitious entity, right? But it's not yours. You just have information pertaining to that. X-Rail, right? X-Rail
May I add to your wisdom there? So let's look at the fictitious entity as a puppet. And everything that's done in commerce is done through the puppet. However, let's say there's another puppet that wants to sue your puppet.
Mm-hmm.
They cannot have the marionette or the puppeteer be taken to jail, prison, or receive something on their life's energy for, to take on the penalty for the puppet.
Right.
So in other words, what's happening is, like, imagine like when you and your friends, I don't know if you guys remember this bottle cap game. I'm dating myself, I guess, like saying how old I really am here. But back in 1992, when I was about 8 years old, there was a real popular game called POG, P-O-G, which is based on something that was done back in the day where people would fill bottle caps with wax. And you would have to, like, basically throw, your little POG piece to make all the other little POG caps or whatever, be displaced in a certain way, for long story short. So the point that I'm making is, can you imagine that the people that play POG are being held accountable for how the POG is designed or the nature pertaining to the POG? Can you imagine playing Uno, and because a card is ripped in the deck, now you have to go to prison for it? When really, at the end of the day, you should be open. When you just open the box and like, hey, this card's ripped, and then somebody goes, woo, whoop, whoop. You're playing, you're attempting to play Uno with a ripped card. Hey, motherfucker, you need to deal with the Uno company.
Right.
All right. So what I said all of that to say is, who you are, the puppeteer, your being, should not be taking a hit for the fictitious charges, which are really just based on, hey, you didn't pass go, so why are you collecting 200 notes? You can imagine really playing Monopoly and going to actual prison? That's just like you imagine playing Monopoly and collecting actual 200 Federal Reserve notes. Either way, you're not an agent of the game. You don't have a contract on oath. Just because you rolled the dice doesn't mean you're responsible to physically deal with the consequences. I yield the floor, Islam.
Islam, bro. You're on point with that.
Islam. Gratitude. Indeed.
X-Rail is how you lawfully... Can you see me now?
Yeah, I think you're right. X-Rail is by its very definition in regards to information, and it is the lawful remedy regarding any information associated with the straw.
Indeed, I skipped a line.
For people that need to hear it that way.
Islam. But you can see me when I speak now because I got my phone camera on.
Yeah. I've been seeing you probably for the last 20 minutes or so, bro, actually.
Okay, cool. All right. So then to continue, X-Rail is how you lawfully stop them from using the straw against you. Therefore, they must address you in your proper status. Being in your proper status is the only condition that can present X-Rail. Coming in proper status, and every time I see status, I just think, mental state.
Mm-hmm.
Because just putting something on paper or just declaring something out loud doesn't create a status. Your status is your mental competence, your mental standing, your mental state, right? If you can't stand on your own mental, and you
it's
have
funny,
to run
standing on your mental, how Pisces meets Aries. As you're going into the zodiac.
Right. If you can't stand full circle, you know what I mean? You can't stand on that 360, then you're not coming in proper status. Right? So make sure that that comprehension is there. Coming in proper status as a national, Moorish national, supersedes their corporate jurisdiction. A national is the highest ranking citizen who is attached to the land, Aboriginal and Indigenous. They're Aboriginal and Indigenous, not to the states/corporations. The states/corporations are foreigners. Nationals are not foreigners and can never be foreigners in their own land. Therefore, we ought to not ever address ourselves as foreigners. We address them as foreigners. See chapter 47 of the Circle 7 Quran.
May I? Emotional outburst there. So when people think, oh, see, y'all talking about status correction. Status correction is something that is a byproduct pertaining to being clear that you are Moorish American, you are not a statutory person, you are not under contract or oath working within the foreign trade zone on foreign land. It is a byproduct pertaining to that thinking. Therefore, you don't have to go and try to do a status correction like a lot of idiots out there are doing. So the status correction is a byproduct in you comprehending who you are. Therefore, what you're actually doing is correcting the records pertaining to foreigners that are seeking to light upon your life's energy, hoping you cannot alight from the unjoyous and unjoyful ride that is called forced servitude, which is illegal and unlawful, and also known as the word slavery. I yield.
Indeed, yeah. I was gonna say something to that. I kind of lost my thought, but
do your thing, bro.
Yeah. You what'd you just speak on though? You said
I was speaking on the status correction.
Right. Okay, yeah. I was gonna say it's not something you buy. It's not a package. It's not a packet of paper. Correcting your status is, if I think, okay, these are black people, I can correct my status simply by realizing, oh shit, these are actually descendants of the ancient Moabites, Canaanites, Hammatites, so on and so forth. These are actually Moors. Boom, I just corrected my status with regard to my status pertaining to how I was identifying a group of people.
Correct.
You see, it's not because, oh, I transacted with this publication group and they gave me this paper that says I'm a national, so I'm a national. You can't do that to me. You don't. That's not how you articulate your standing. It is clear that
Correct.
your status is not corrected in that sense. If you can't articulate who you are, what you are, why you are, where you are, when you are, you can't. Not that you have to even speak these things, but if someone's coming at you saying you're this, you're that, you're here, you're there, and then you don't have it in your mind to correct them or at least call them out on their BS with the right mind, then you probably should keep studying before you begin to exercise your birthrights, because what's going to happen is it's going to be in the air that your spirit is not actually there. They're going to know that you're going to buckle easily one challenge. You know what I mean?
Correct.
The less amount of time you spend building yourself up, the easier they're going to destroy you. It's like you building a fort, right? And when you go in there not knowing nothing, you're going in there with a tent. It's going to blow away when they test the integrity, the foundation of that. You got to build something solid like rammed earth, right? That's gonna withstand the test of time. So, X-Rail is how you lawfully stop them from using the straw against you. Therefore, they must address you in your proper status. Being in your proper status is the only condition that can present X-Rail. Coming in proper status as a national, Moorish national supersedes their corporate jurisdiction. A national is the highest ranking citizen who is attached to the land, Aboriginal, Indigenous, not to the states, corporations. The state corporations are foreigners, right? We already went through that, right? We address them as foreigners. See chapter 47 of the Circle 7 Quran. As a national, and when operating under proper protocols, you have consuls and ministers who can speak on your behalf. See Article 3, Section 2 and 3 of the Constitution. Therefore, consuls and ministers must be in place for a nation. They are amicus curiae, meaning they enter the court as friends of the court. However, they cannot be friends of a court that has no jurisdiction and authority. Unity is nationhood. What we need to do as a nation is educate the people, those who resonate to being consuls and ministers. While that is being done, you yourself can X-rail the straw. Now that is just the truth regarding it and your relationship to it, which is X-relation or X-relatione.
Correct.
Failure to present X-rail allows the state corporations to act as power of attorney over the straw.
Correct, which is the problem in the first place, which is why when we're in the jurisprudence gym, we're asking for delegated authority.
Yes, always, no matter what they're claiming to be.
Where's your delegation of authority? What are you?
Yeah, I want to see your delegation of authority. I want to see your power of attorney to speak for whoever you think you're speaking for. I want to see all of that. The state corporations have been acting as power of attorney over the straw and speaking for it because someone must. Those who have answered to it have agreed to be the straw, the fiction, and the fiction cannot speak for itself. Hence, they push attorneys on you to speak for you, right? To speak for that corporation.
Jesus.
Therefore, you must approach it from your proper natural being status. In law terms, it is in propia persona, right? In your own proper person. It is time, rather past time, for us to get into proper status and take the position of power of attorney over the straw. This does not mean you own it or that it is you. Having this proper lawful understanding clears up the misconception that one can capture it, copyright it, sue people for using it, etc. You can sue one for addressing you incorrectly in lawful matters. Essentially, that is what X-Rail puts in order, as you must first X-Rail the straw and say, I am. You cannot own the straw construct because you did not construct it, and it is not you. As well, you cannot dissolve it because it was not constructed by you, and it is not a contract. It is a negotiable instrument of which the straw is derived. Islam. Now I'm going to actually put some stuff up here. Let's see. We're going to look at see what they're talking about here. Driving without a valid license. Let's see if I can make this big enough for the people to see. Can you see this pretty clear?
In RS 483.550, driving without valid license. Oh, this is going to be funny.
Oh, snap. All right. It is, number one, it is unlawful for any person,
corporation,
right? Any corporation or person operating for a corporation in the United States or in the state, right?
Mm-hmm.
To drive
commerce,
a motor vehicle,
syringe
for transporting properties and persons, right? Or to draw
an
properties
account.
and persons, right?
Draw from the account.
to draw from the cattle. Upon a public street or highway in this state without being the holder of a valid driver's license. The court shall require any person convicted of violating this section to obtain a valid driver's license or produce a notice of disqualification from the department.
Hold on, time out. They just told you that they can, if they just told you if the department, which you don't need, however, they just said that you can have the department pertaining to motor vehicles give you a document that says you do not qualify to have a driver's license. That doesn't mean that you still can't operate a mode pertaining to land conveyance. So you can still be behind the wheel because it's your birthright, because the land conveyance termed automobile, however, statutorily termed a motor vehicle once it's registered to become the property of the governor, right? This is just so funny, bro. What is being said is that you can still do this, because the point I'm making is the extension to your feet. Because remember, license is permission. When you check etymologically, license means permission. So if you weren't a swallow or cum shot on the face or on the carpet or in the toilet, right, then you've been given all the permission that you need. You weren't aborted. So with that being said, you made it, right? You made it. You were defibrillated ovum, all righty. So since the ovum is defibrillated, you weren't discarded in a menstrual cycle, so to speak, because that's the actual truth. You weren't discarded in the menstrual cycle, right? The spark actually made it to you, and now you have a heartbeat. Now you have been defibrillated by the electrical energy termed sperm, right? And now you're free to crawl across Big Mama's floor, unless you didn't get your crawler's permit. You didn't get your hard bottom shoes license.
Right.
You got a license to operate them hard bottoms, because that's what the land conveyance is. It's an extension pertaining to your feet, period. Unless you are a contracted, oath-taking agent working within a foreign trade zone and you agreed according to the Internal Revenue Code, Title 26 United States Code, subsection 7701, H2C1. I mean, yeah, H2C1, right? Lowercase h, number, Arabic numeral 2, capital letter C, lowercase Roman numeral 1, which is a lowercase I. If you're not pledging by a certified statement that says, hey, I'm going to write this statement and I'm saying that I'm doing this at the pleasure of the governor and I'm going to use this land conveyance for 50% of the time that I'm using it for trade or business, which is performing functions of public office. If you don't have that, then none of this applies to you.
The certification is false. Nobody claiming that they own title or that they have certificate of title has a valid certificate. All those certificates are false unless they can produce the statement from the owner stating that they're using the land conveyance for what my brother just described there, right?
Correct.
The public office. So this is something that I noted too right here. The definition of driver's license right here. It said a driver's license means a license issued under the laws of the state authorizing a person to drive a motor vehicle in this state too. But check this out. If you they'll say like you need a license to be a surgeon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you don't get that license, are you a surgeon?
You're not a statutory surgeon.
Right.
However,
you're right.
but by your own practice and skill and craft, yes, you would still be a surgeon. You're just not under statutory regulation, which means you're not under what they call laws of the state or laws of this state, which are actually only codifications, man-made, that are dealing with how to regulate those doing trade or business. So therefore, you would be a surgeon performing functions of public office. So you would be a surgeon at the pleasure of the governor.
Right. So my point with that whole thing is that if you were never under the laws of this state and then authorized to drive a motor vehicle, then you can't be called a statutory driver.
Correct.
But it says a driver's license means a license issued under the laws of this state authorizing a person to drive. Sorry, you're saying that I'm driving without a driver's license and you're calling me a driver, but I'm actually not a driver. Well, you need a license to drive in the state of Nevada. Well, the thing is that's for drivers. And you just said I don't have a license. So if I don't have a license, I was never authorized to drive. I'm not a driver. I can't be a statutory driver if I was never authorized to be one. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, then they're going to say, when you look at the definition of driver, they're going to say, well, a driver just means a person who is in actual physical control of a vehicle upon the highway. Well, hold on.
Many layers to that statement. So many layers. Go ahead.
Driver means a person. First, that person, it has to be an agent employed with an oath of office and contract with the state. And then I have to be in actual physical control of a vehicle. What is a vehicle? What is the vehicle? All right. Oh, did I pass it? Hold on.
Any device upon or by which a person or property
right
is being transported.
Bicycle. I was going to say bicycle. Vehicle means every device in, upon, or by which any person or property.
Go down. Oh, I was going to say, go ahead. You get it then.
Is or may be transported or drawn upon, like withdrawals from the bank, transported or drawn upon a public highway, except, and then talks about devices moved by human power, electric bikes, electric personal assistive mobility devices, and electric scooters. But check it out. If they're saying any device, every device for which persons and properties may be transported or drawn upon, if it's being drawn upon, it's like a check. It's like a cat.
Yo, you just made me think about something when you just said drawn upon. Because now I'm thinking about when vampire, like when people draw blood from the veins. This is very vampiric. I yield though.
Yeah, that goes back to vehicle. The vehicle is the syringe.
Exactly.
So how do they draw your blood? With a syringe.
Correct. With a vehicle. That is correct.
Look, persons or property is or may be transported. Okay, now this is where it gets really, 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 really funny. Because there's two words that prove to you that even when they say it's non-commercial use, it's commercial still. The two words are transport and passenger.
Correct.
Why? If we're in chapter 483 here, all my people can see.
Nevada revised statutes, right?
Yes, chapter 43, driver's licenses, driving schools, and driving instructors. And this is a Motor Vehicle Driver's Licenses Uniform Act, so we know it's not real law. It's coming from the ULC.
Correct.
And check this out. All right, so why, when we look up the word transport, why is it used 36 times in this entire document, but the first time it's used is after the definitions? There is no definition for transport here. Okay? There is no definition for transport, but it's used 36 times. That's how we know.
Go ahead, yeah.
This is how we're going to prove our transport has to do with commercial activity, but they don't want to say that because they don't want you to know that it's commercial, because they want you to believe that when you're doing stuff just in your private capacity that it applies to you. This is the deceit. So the other word, real quick, before we really break down transport, is passenger.
Emotional outburst. That's why I had asked when we was briefly reviewing this. I was like, let's go to Title 49 and define transport. But I know you said you're going to go there, so yeah, I yield. But I just wanted to keep it out there and put it on the record. Like that's what I was thinking. Right? It's defined in Title 49, United States Code 5102, and I was like, okay. But go ahead, do your thing on passenger. I yield.
Islam. I'll try to go quick because I'm gonna have to go somewhere here soon, anyways. But I want to get all this in here because it's a great build. So if you look right here, the first time they use passenger is the first time they use transport, which is transporting. You will always see transporting next to passengers or some other commercial term. We're going to prove that passenger is a commercial term. We're going to prove that transporting is a commercial term. As you can see right here, these are all the definitions right here. This is the last one that's defined as vehicle, right? And then it goes, street. So all these definitions right here, driver defined, all the way down to vehicle defined. You don't see passenger defined. Here's the P's. You don't see photograph and premises in which the public has access. So there's no passenger defined, even though it's used 25 times. And guess what it's being used with? With transport. You see passenger, you see transport. You see school bus? School bus does not include a passenger car operated under a contract to transport children to and from the school. But check this out. Where's it at? Right here. School bus means every motor vehicle owned by or under the control of a public government or governmental agency or private school and regularly operated for the transportation of children.
Jesus. So hold on. So then children's got to be part of commerce then. So people shouldn't say they have children because they say they have children. They're saying they have products pertaining to commerce.
Or if you do say children, don't say that they're being transported.
Or just say that they're not statutory children or something like.
Right. Exactly. Children to or from school activity or privately owned and regularly operated for compensation.
Jesus.
For transportation of children. Why every time you see transport, it's associated with some commercial activity. You will not see the word transport in any other way. You see compensation, you see school bus drivers, you know the bus drivers getting paid. But let's go on because we want to kind of speed through this real quick.
I yield.
We're going to continue passenger. You see passenger right here? And transport is next to it again. Transport as passengers. Every time you see passengers, you see transport. Transport certain passengers. Transport as passengers. Transporting certain passengers. Transporting certain passengers. I am not bullshitting when I tell you, you won't find transport without passenger unless it's talking about some other commercial activity. So now that you see that transport and passenger are always alongside each other, licensee to transport passengers, all right? And you know that a vehicle is every device which is used to transport property or persons. Transport is commercial. So that means you're transporting persons or property and you're getting paid for that. Now, let's go here to just shut them all the way down. Or, I mean, I want to, but let me do this one real quick. Is this it?
NRS 587.
Chapter 587, agricultural products and seeds. This is another place where you'll find transport 25 times, but it's dealing with products, agricultural products, which is commercial activity again. And look at all the times where you're going to see, just to show you how it's used here. Transport is defined here, actually. We're gonna get to that. Boom. Unlawful to pack, transport, or sell defective or damaged products. That's commercial language being used with the word transport. We're going to show you. Boom. Look at transport again. Sold, offered, or exposed for sale in the state. Transport is being used with commercial terms again. Notify promptly the person who transported or sold, offered, and exposed the seed for sale. It's being used with commercial terms. Everywhere. Look, offered for sale. Number 7, number 8. Sold, offered for sale, transported, delivered for transportation. Look at this. We can just kind of skim through them all and you can see, look, transported to a consumer, right?
Wow.
Sale, offering for sale. Every time transported is used, it's in regard to commercial activity. Now let's go to what they define it as in here, which is hilarious.
So people should not call themselves passengers. They should call themselves guests. And they should not say that they're transporting. They should say that they're actually conveying from point A to point B.
Yeah, moving about. They're traveling freely.
Correct.
So now when you get to the definition of transport, look at how they try to trick you into believing that transport doesn't have to do anything with for hire vehicles or for hire transportation. They don't define transport as what it is. They only define transport as what it is not. That's the trickery here. Transport does not include the owners of vehicles. We could just stop right there. But then it says employed in for hire transportation to allude to trying to, for those who don't have great cognitive skills, right, or discernment, one would think, oh, transport doesn't have anything to do with for hire transportation because it says it doesn't include it. No, it doesn't say it doesn't include it. It says it doesn't include the owners of the vehicles, which means a transporter can't transport himself because he is not the good that's being delivered for some type of quote unquote payment. He's the deliverer who's delivering the goods. The goods is what one is being entrusted with for compensation, not himself, the driver, the designee, the owner, the holder of the certificate. If we go to owner, we'll see it's the holder of the certificate or anyone who he designates to use the quote unquote vehicle.
So I'm looking at the transport being a noun because they're talking about the owners. So it's like transport is a noun, obviously, in this sense and how they're using it, and a inherent byproduct pertaining to some documentary transfer.
Exactly.
So it's like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? What came first, the transfer or the transport? Well, we know that the transfer definitely comes before the transport. However, they're connected because they're all on the same farm called commerce, statutory commerce.
Remember what my brother's saying right now, guys. He's saying that one company is going to put it on paper that they're making a transfer and they're going to put their employees or their agents into motion with the transfer. They take that paperwork when a delivery truck arrives at a warehouse, they have the people receiving the goods sign off paperwork.
Correct.
That transfer is happening on paper, and that paper is moving, whether it's being faxed, it's being brought in the delivery truck, however it's being moved. But just know that the transportation is happening on paper as well as physically. That is exactly what the bros just basically explained.
Islam.
So, and then he points out why are they saying transport in the sense of a noun, saying transport does not include the owners of a vehicle. An owner would be a noun, would be a so-called person, right? So the fact that they define it as what it's not, but they don't define it as what it is, but the fact that they use for hire transportation in the definition of transport has the words for hire transportation in it. That's what every time you see transport, it's commercial. Now, just to bust them over the head, this is the only, if you can find a definition of transport in the Nevada Revised Statutes that is not in 587.530, please send it to me so we can review it. I haven't been able to find any. The only other place we define this term is here. Bow. Title 49, United States Code, Section 5102, definitions. Commerce, number 1, means trade or transportation in the jurisdiction of the United States. So it's not even transportation if you're transporting persons or property not in the United States. It's not commerce. It's not commerce. Hold up.
The fact that we know trade or business is performing functions of public office. So it says commerce means performing functions of public office.
Right. Yo. Or performing functions of public office in the jurisdiction of the United States.
Correct.
And then look, what is commerce when you click on here? Commerce means trade or transportation in the jurisdiction of the United States. A, between a place in a state, a place outside of the state, or B, that affects trade or transportation between a place in a state and a place outside of the state. C, on a United States registered aircraft.
They just described transfer. We're going to transfer this property from one trust to another trust.
Yes.
We're entrusting this from us to entrust it to you. So that's why you should not, let's say, I don't know, because I've done this before, go on Facebook Marketplace, get the title, certificate of title, so to speak, from someone you transacted for a land conveyance for on Facebook Marketplace, for example, right? What you do not do is now go get a certificate of registration or a certificate of title from the Motor Vehicle Administration or the Department of Motor Vehicles, depending on which corporation you're near. You don't do that. What you do is you put that in the safe some fucking where and print up your own title after making sure you have a bill of sale, so to speak. All righty? Because you do not, I repeat, you do not need to register anything with the governors or managers of the state of corporations. I don't think I said that properly. Let me say it over again. You do not.
You do not
anything. What you say, bro?
You literally can't unless you write a handwritten letter telling them that you're going to use the automobile 50% of its usage for performing the functions of public office. That's the only way. And that's for federal tax purposes. Which means you're gonna be doing the same thing, putting on paper that you're transporting this and this and that. Where's the paperwork proving that you're transporting anything? These traffic tickets don't have no information on them. They just have a bunch of presumptions on them, and they proceed like, "Yo, what are you doing? I'm not transporting persons or property within the United States."
So this was a mathematic equation: A plus B equals C. Transfer plus transportation equals commerce.
Exactly. Shit. If you want to just look at the numerical value of each one mathematically, transport equals commerce.
Correct.
Just on its own. Traffic on its own equals commerce.
Correct.
Passenger on its own equals commerce.
Correct.
You know yeah. Speaking of passenger, but let's read this transportation real quick. Transports or transportation means the movement of property and loading, unloading, or storage incidental to the movement. And when it says the movement of property, you guessed it, they're talking about commercial property.
Correct.
And then, so now you guys see that, and more evidence to show you. I mean, I don't even think it gets much clearer than that. It's telling you it means commerce. God, easy, like right there. Like, it doesn't get more plain than that. Commerce means transportation.
I'm curious, what state and what's United States? Just really quickly. Can you please just humor me? What state?
State means A, except in section 5119 of this title, a state of the United States, the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, the Northern Mariana Islands, the Virgin Islands, American Samoa, Guam, or any other territory or possession of the United States designated by the Secretary, and B, in section 5119 of this title, a state of the United States and the District of the Bank of Columbia.
The bank, yeah, because district is bank. It definitely is. All right, now what's United States?
You a bank, I know. You a bank, I know. On a United States registered aircraft. United States means all of the states.
Oh, wow, which is only like 4 or 5 of them. We just read it.
In actuality, right.
It's only like 4 or 5 of them, which, you know, again, you could find defined even further inside of the Internal Revenue Code, Title 26, United States Code. All righty. So that means that you being Moorish American, knowing that you have a non-obligatory tax status, which has been codified in the United States Code, Title 22, right? Title 22, Chapter 2, subsections 141 through 143, which is dealing with describing your general and permanent character. General isn't like, oh, just randomly no, general means primary, like the general. You salute the general, right? So your general and permanent character has been codified within the United States Code. Doesn't mean that you're statutorily obligated to it. It means it's to be statutorily respected by those under statutory obligation.
Indeed. It's a form of recognition. Yeah, a form of recognition, right?
Correct. So when people oh, they don't recognize that. That's bullshit. It's right there in Title 22, motherfucker. What are you talking about? Oh, that's been repealed. According to you, motherfuckers, because you relinquished your jurisdiction in Morocco during the Dwight D. Eisenhower's tenure in 1956. That's why you have a kingdom away from Morocco, but they call it Kingdom of Morocco at Al-Kibalan in the northwest corner pertaining to Al-Kibalan, which is falsely termed Africa.
Right.
I yield.
Indeed. Now, I just want to remind the people, because so we can proceed with the lesson, remind the people so we can make this connection right here with passenger, because we ain't got the passenger yet. This is going to be the funniest one of them all. Then you see transport. You see that everywhere transport was used, something dealing with commerce was said, including passenger, right? Now, the reminder that I'm bringing is that, remember that passenger was not defined in this driver's license, driving schools, and driving instructors. And it's also, by the way, not defined in the traffic laws here. Traffic laws generally, you also don't see passenger here. The only thing you see here is passenger car. And again, when you see passenger car, guess what you see alongside with it?
Is it commerce?
For the transportation of persons.
Wow.
See that under passenger car?
Wow.
Passenger
so persons would have to be people under contract and oath to perform functions of public office at the pleasure of the governor. It couldn't be actual sentient beings. That's not what persons are statutorily. It's people under contract and oath. Yeah. So once you are under contract and under oath, you're no longer people. You're now working, being a person at the pleasure of the governor.
Exactly. Beautifully illustrated, bro.
I yield, bro. It's on you, man.
Passenger car means every motor vehicle except motorcycles and motor-driven cycles driven for carrying 10 passengers or less and used for transportation of persons. Now, mind you, this is the traffic laws generally. We're not in 483 anymore. We're in 484. I mean, we're not in, was it 483 or 58? Yeah, we're not in 483 anymore. we're in 484A, which is traffic laws generally. Now, when you look up passenger here, which is used 14 times, but it's not defined. You see that? They even define pedestrian and park and person, park and parking and person with disability, pole trailer, police officer, premises, private way, public authority, but they do not define passenger, but they keep using this word, right? And they always use it with transport. Guess where passengers define that? Anybody in the chat can take a guess. Is there anyone on YouTube?
By the way, yeah, let me check YouTube because I've been sharing the whole time, you know, you've been going in. I've been actually sharing, like I'm on the different social medias. I've been sharing in the chat. Peaceful greetings, Mother Yaya. She says she's watching. I think it's her and not any other, you know, guys that try to, you know, take advantage of women in their cash apps. she knows what I'm talking about. So peaceful greetings to Mother Yaya. Mother Sahar's here. She says peaceful greetings, Brother Hasan and Brother Ara and everyone in the chat. Brother Kevin Blaze with Dusky Brewski. He says Islam nobles and namaste. Dev Devucci 614 says peace and love. And Brother Ara just asked you guys in the chat, what's your question again?
Can anyone take a guess where the definition of passenger is defined at?
Can y'all take a guess? Dev Devucci 614 says U.S. codes is probably where it's found. Laughing out loud.
Right. The actual definition, right? for the statute upholders.
That is absolutely.
So I'm gonna reveal it now. It is under the safety of participants in outdoor sports.
Yo, you're blowing people's mind right now. Is this where we do the funk flex bomb? Funk master flex.
Yo,
that's where that was supposed to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Under skiers and snowboarders.
So the people on the East Coast, and it's funny too, because Prophet Noble Drew Ali said we need to utilize our own free national press as the strongest weapon in our hand to shovel ourselves from under the avalanche of lies heaped upon us daily. And avalanches happen where there's snow. So people on the East Coast that go to the Poconos, you're a passenger. When? Go ahead, bro. I yield.
Yo, nice and big for them. NRS 455A.030. Passenger defined. Passenger means a person who utilizes a chairlift for transportation. Oh, look, chairlift.
Christ.
Oh, look, chairlift.
Lucky, Astro Cookie.
A chairlift means a device. Let me keep it big and I'll just move it. A chairlift means a device except for an elevator that carries, pulls, or pushes a person along a level or inclined path to, from, or within a snow recreation area.
Let it snow. Let it snow. Okay, I'm gonna let it.
By means of a rope, cable, or other flexible element that is driven by an essentially stationary source of power. So wait, a passenger means a person who utilizes a chairlift, and a chairlift is something used within a snow recreation area?
Can be a passenger in the desert.
Man. I don't see how it's going to happen. So wait, all those times we seen transport with passenger, they were talking about skiers and snowboarders?
Yo. Hey, yo. Well, that's so fucking funny. It's like, so you got to be Shaun White to be a fucking passenger. For those that don't know who Shaun White is, look him up. He's a Ginger Albion son who is really, really good at snowboarding. Yeah.
So how do you transport passengers on a school bus? They taking a field trip to the snowy mountains or something?
Yo,
what the fuck is going on here?
It's
They using chairlifts?
That's what I was about to say. A school bus ain't no chairlift, but go ahead, bro. I yield.
Hold on. I think we got to read chairlift again. I'll make this nice and big. Chairlift means a device. Okay, a device. Except for an elevator. Okay, doesn't include elevators. That carries. Okay, it carries. Pulls and pushes. Okay, pulls and pushes. A what? A person. A contracted oath taking federal agent along a level or inclined path to, from, or within a snow recreation area by means of a rope, cable, or other flexible element that is driven by an essentially stationary source of power.
Emotional outburst question. What's snow then? I'm curious. Do they
Man.
Yeah, like I'm gonna question my thinking on what snow is
Look,
at this point.
A snow recreation area means the slopes, trails, runs, and other areas under the control of an operator that are intended to be used for skiing and snowboarding or for the observation of the sports. A sport team is a sports team, a sports industry is a business. They're operating business still at the pleasure of the governor.
Yo, forgive me, yo, but I promise you, yo, that Malik Yoba and Cool Runnings just came to my head. How about I draw a line in your head and make it look like a butt? Like, because people are being butt heads if they're not comprehending this shit, right? This makes me want to go watch Cool Runnings, bro. I promise you. I yield. Go ahead. I yield.
So when we go back over here to driver's licenses, driving schools, and driving instructors, and we see passengers used 25 times, what in the hell are they talking about? What are they talking about? Passengers. Look at this. Let's find something. Let's go right here.
So you got to be a skier or a snowboarder.
Yeah, you have to be. And you have to be registered and incorporated with the state, right? When you're doing it, you have your license to ski and all that.
Correct.
I'm pretty sure they have licenses for that.
I don't think they should, but they probably do since it's all statutory and shit being defined and whatnot.
So when it says transport as passenger, it says as. Bro, there they go right there. That's as.
Wow.
As passengers, but they're not.
Wow, which means you're acting as something that's imaginary. You're playing house. I'm gonna be the passenger and you're the transporter.
As passengers. Let's see. Transport as passengers. But in no event may the number of passengers so transported at any time exceed the number of passengers for which the vehicle was designed. Yeah. All right, right here. As passengers. Right. Wow. Okay. So the only other place you see.
That's like, hold on, just real quick. That's like Bill Cosby as Heathcliff Huxtable. Like, go ahead. I
was gonna say the only other place you see transport that I've seen. I'm pretty sure there's probably other places, but this is another one I found is under controlled substances, which ain't no controlled substance being taken to and fro anywhere unless it's corporate.
Correct.
So, because it's a controlled substance. So when we look at, let's see, transport here, transport pops up 7 times here. And notice how when it pops up, even in this chapter, dealing with what they call controlled substances, it still alludes to commerce. And then don't forget that in the driving laws, in the traffic laws, and in the driver's license, driver's school, and driving instructors laws, they do not define transport or passenger. We had to go to outside chapters to find a definition. Remember that.
Correct.
They purposely don't define it where they use it multiple times. So now listen to this. Property subject to forfeiture. The following are subject to forfeiture pursuant to NRS 179.1156 to 179.1205 inclusive. Number 5, all conveyances, including aircraft, vehicle, or vessels, which are used or intended for use to transport or in any manner to facilitate the transportation, concealment, manufacture, we're talking about commerce, or protection for the purpose of sale. Possession for sale, that would be the concealing. Possession for sale or receipt of property, the same or similar conduct, right? And then right here it uses it again. Look, 10. This is something else that can be forfeited, right? Property subject to forfeiture. All firearms, let me make this a little big. All firearms, as defined by NRS 202.253, which are in the actual or constructive possession of a person who possesses or is consuming, manufacturing, transporting, selling, or under the influence of any controlled substance in violation of the provisions of blah, 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 inclusive or a law of any other jurisdiction. Look at that. They're talking about jurisdiction. They're talking about commerce, right? Manufacturing, transporting, selling under the influence, which prohibits the same similar conduct. Of course, you're prohibited from taking controlled substances when you're supposed to be delivering the goods that they need to make sure it gets there, because everything's being done on paper and everything's being accounted for, and people are liable if there's mistakes in the operations of the business. So,
correct.
Of course, when you go to controlled substances and you look at transport, it's gonna again import, transport, sell, exchange, barter, supply, prescribe, dispense, give away. They're talking commerce again. And then last but not least, right here, they says a salesperson. Look at how it starts it, bro. Number 7.
A salesperson.
It starts off a salesperson. You telling me this ain't for commercial purposes? A salesperson.
There's not one statute out there, no one so-called statutory code, annotated code of the state, whatever it is. It's all commerce. Here's my question. Are you allowing yourself to be a part of human trafficking and racketeering because you believe you're taking care of yourself and your family?
Right.
I yield.
No, you're absolutely right. Every single one. We're just showing you one. We're just showing you transport and passenger. That's all we're showing you. And those two definitions alone just destroy the entire fucking traffic code. Why? Let's go back to the traffic code so you can see why it destroys it. Look at the traffic laws, right? 484A. They say you need a driver's license. Oh, yeah? Well, what was a driver's license under 403? 483. A driver's license was, again, a license issued under the laws. Driver's license means license issued under the laws of this state authorizing a person to drive a motor vehicle. Okay, so authorizing a federal agent to drive a commercial vehicle, a commercial vehicle. Basically, a vehicle is commercial to drive commerce.
It's an emotional outburst question, man. If you can, you can. If you can't, you can't. We'll just have to do a part 3. I think this would be the perfect time to bring up 26 USC 7701 H2C1. Shout out to Keith. Shout out to our Albion son, Keith, at within our Jurisprudence gym community. You know what I mean? Like, even though I just said earlier, they're pale skins and, they're really the black people. At the end of the day, we're for peace and not destruction. So I love my jurisprudence community. I just make sure things are in perspective so that we can really honor the nature pertaining to how we are interacting and how we engage one another without, not a statutory engagement. There's one.
Right.
So shout out to Keith and Malika because Malika has it on the platform, right, at the Jurisprudence Gym, and it's Keith's video for like 45 minutes, and he drills this, right, and it is H2 2C1. So 2 is qualified motor vehicle operator agreement, because the license, what you think is a license, is really a motor vehicle operating lease. No, you were there, bro. You were there. I don't know where you're going. You were so there. You were there. Yes, that is it right there. Motor vehicle operating leases. However, 2, H2 is right there for qualified motor vehicle operating agreement. Then C.
Okay, let me read. Okay.
Oh, yeah, go right ahead. No, you want to do the purpose and stuff? Go right ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to go through it so they could kind of fully comprehend it.
Uh-huh.
So, motor vehicle operating leases, 1, in general, for the purpose of this title, in the case of a qualified motor vehicle operating agreement, which contains a terminal rental adjustment clause.
Jesus, rental. Jesus. I thought it was mine, but this is my will. Not when you registering that shit.
Yeah, not when you have a qualified motor vehicle operating agreement. A, such agreement shall be treated as a lease. Ooh.
Jesus Christ. People ain't never heard. They think a lease deal with their apartment. No, that lease is also dealing with your land conveyance if you register it with the state of corporation out of your, what's that? What called the American say? Ignorance. There we go. I yield.
Right. Being an idiot. A, such agreement shall be treated as a lease if, but for such terminal rental agreement adjustment clause, such agreement would be treated as a lease under this title. And B, the leasee, right, or the lessee, shall not be treated as the owner of the property, subject to an agreement during any period such agreement is in effect.
Hold up, yo, but I thought that was my will. So you trying to tell me that when I register my will with the state, that now I'm considered a lessee, which means now I don't own my own will anymore?
Yeah.
The answer is yes. Yes, you do not own shit, because what you said was you're too immature and you're too much of an idiot to govern your own affairs. So you registered your property with the governor of a state of corporation who is now regulating your movement on your ancestral estate, that you're ignorant pertaining to it. You're ignorant of it. Oh, I don't know. I didn't know that, man. You know, I'm still learning. It's okay. You're still an idiot, technically.
Okay, so
that's not me being mean. Look it up in the law dictionary. I yield.
So my question then is, wouldn't that be the taking of private property for public use without just compensation?
Correct. Without a certified statement.
Because they're taking your property, saying you don't own it anymore, you're just leasing it now, and then you don't even get paid to do that, but they're claiming that you're working, and then they create tickets, the bill of attainders, right, referred to as tickets, and they make more finance off of you, and you just losing on every end, but they're using you as the purpose for being able to do what they're doing to you. Like they're saying you allow them to do what they're doing to you in the name of commerce, and then in actuality, you're not even engaging in commerce.
Very vampiric that is. I mean, very, very vampiric.
Indeed.
I yield.
Let's see. Qualified motor vehicle operating agreement defined. In general, the term qualified motor vehicle operating agreement means any agreement with respect to a motor vehicle, including a trailer, which meets the requirements of subparagraph B, C, and D of this paragraph. Okay, let's see the requirements. Here goes B. The requirements of B, C, and D. All right, let's see what the B requirements are. Minimum liability of lessor. An agreement meets the requirements of this subparagraph if, under such agreement, the sum of 1, the amount of the lessor is personally liable to repay, and 2, the net fair market value of the lessors or the leasers, right? The lessor's interest in any property pledged as security for property subject to the agreement equals or exceeds all amounts borrowed to finance the acquisition of property subject to the agreement.
Stop right there. Acquisition.
Yeah.
It becomes an acquisition when you register it with the motor vehicles or the Department of Motor Vehicles, it becomes an acquisition by you idiotically, yet voluntarily registering your property with the state. So that's how so-called the governor, through the state agencies over which they're overseeing, That's how they acquire your property that is no longer yours. Now they're the lessor, the leaseor, and you are now the leasee. I yield.
Yeah, you're the leasee or the lessee. You should have been more, not less. Or
yo.
So, yo, you know what's crazy is they talking about borrowed to finance acquisition. Who borrowed to finance the acquisition of property subject to the agreement? You got some loan or something? They got some what's going on there? There shall not be taken into account under clause 2, right? The net fair market value. Any property pledged which is property subject to the agreement or what? There shall not be taken into account under clause 2 any property pledged which is property subject to the agreement or property directly or indirectly financed by indebtedness secured by property subject to the agreement. And now this is where we really kill them off at.
Yeah, but this is where I was talking about H2. Now you're at C, and then when you get to 1, it's gonna be like, whoa, like Joey Lawrence. Whoa.
I know, right? Remember, the term qualified motor vehicle operating agreement means an agreement with respect to a motor vehicle, including a trailer, which meets the requirements of subparagraph B, C, and D. So let's see what C says.
Including means only. So it's only a trailer.
Right.
Yo.
Right.
I yield.
Certification by lessee. Notice of tax ownership. Notice of tax ownership.
Wow.
An agreement meets the requirements of this subparagraph if such agreement contains a separate written, if such agreement contains a separate written statement. Oh my God. If separately signed by the lessee. So you tell
Jesus Christ.
You tell me it has to be a written statement and it has to be signed by you if you're being considered a lessee, right? Number 1, under which the lessee certifies. They want you to certify under penalty of perjury that it intends that more. It intends. Damn, they're not even calling you.
Damn, they call the lessee a it. Go ahead, I yield.
Yeah, they call the lessee a it. It intends that more than 50% of the use of the property, more than 50% of the use of the property subject to such agreement is to be in trade or business of the lessee. Wait.
That is performing functions of public office, trade or business. It's just like, are you working for the governor? If so, everybody that's registering your property, then you should be asking for a check. However, make sure you're a Federal Reserve agent. Because other than that, you're breaking the fucking law. You're breaking the law when you register the property. You're breaking the law when you don't have a certified statement after registering the property. And now you're allowing yourself to be treated as you are performing functions of public office under presumption, actually. So you're just breaking the law. There's 3 points of breaking the law that you're doing. The third point is the fact that you're doing trade or business and you're not actually on the record as someone that's performing functions of public office. And so now you think you're doing the right thing, taking care of you and your family, and you're a fucking criminal. I yield.
Right. Yeah, trader business is actually defined here as the term trader business includes, right, the performance of the functions of a public office. I mean, that's just the first part of C. That's the funny part. We didn't even get to
that's the first part of C. Hey, yo.
You gotta put in writing a statement which is under penalty of perjury, which is signed, and which the lessee, which is that it intends that more than 50% of the use. You know what 50% is? That means half of the usage, guys. You're using it more than half of the time it's being. If you use it 6 times out the week, 3 days out of the week, you got to be using it in the functions of public office, in the performance of functions of public office for half of the usage. Number 3, Number 2 under C, which clearly and legibly states, your written statement has to clearly and legibly state that the lessee has been advised that it will not be treated as the owner. Oh, bro, nobody thinks that they're not the owner of their properties.
But you have to you have to make a statement that you have to certify your statement, and hey, I certify, and I'm putting my autograph here, term the signature. I certify that I just got this new land conveyance, and I'm gonna register with the state by registering with the governor by saying I'm registering with the state, and now it's no longer mine because I'm an idiot that doesn't know how to govern their own affairs. I can't take my place amongst the affairs of men properly and competently. So therefore, I'm going to commit fraud.
Precisely.
I yield.
Yeah.
That's what you guys are saying. You guys are saying that you're committing fraud. It's not Brother Hasan saying it. That's just me caricaturing, as so to speak, a voiceover for those of you that think you got to be a man or a woman and take care of your family. No, we all need to learn that we need to get this energy and these entities off of our fucking land. Actually, stop these practices and processes and just be competent beings who doesn't always need people to tell you what the fuck to do. You're grown until you want somebody to tell you what to do. You're so grown and you're a grown-ass woman and a grown-ass man until you're asking somebody, how do I do this? I thought you were grown.
Right. That happens often.
I yield.
So the second portion of that, not only does it have to be under penalty of perjury, signed by you, admitting that it's going to be used in trade or business, and then it has to clearly state that you've been advised that you will not be treated as the owner of the property, subject to the agreement for federal income tax purposes. So you telling me that the federal government is taxing you for the use of your own property that is no longer being called yours because you registered it and pledged it to whoever you registered it with, and now you're saying you registering it with them and then allowing. That's like if I give my private land conveyance to U-Haul, or if I give my private, or that's like if I donate my private land conveyance to the police department, and now they're using it 3 days out of 6 on the week. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I volunteered my shit. Or no, check it out. That's like you get hired at a pizza joint, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get hired at the pizza joint, and then you agree to use your private automobile to deliver pizzas. Now you're using it to perform the functions of public office because that pizza place is 9 times, or I would say 10 times out of 10, registered with the state, and the state is treating it as a U.S. citizen, right? Because it's a person born in the United States, or it's a person naturalized in the United States as a corporation, right? So it's clothed with certain rights as a corporation. That business is clothed with certain rights as a U.S. citizen, and then that U.S. citizen is a franchisee of the United States government. So yes, you are performing the functions of public office when you just work for just any regular business that's registered, due to the fact that these businesses are being treated as U.S. citizens, which are franchisees.
You said that beautifully and perfectly. I yield.
Islam. And then also D was the last one that had to be in accordance with. So it says D, lessor must have no knowledge that certification is false.
So in other words, hold on. You know what you just said there? That means that in order for the certification to be said to be false, the leasee must now make a statement that the certification is false. So people need to be out here like, hey, the certification is false. I am not doing business I'm not doing trade or business. I'm not performing public functions pertaining to public office at the pleasure of the governor, because now that means that the governor and its state agencies, assigns, and other agents under the governor cannot be the ones to speak up and go, you're doing some fuck shit, right? But we can't say nothing. That's what that's saying right there. I yield.
Exactly. The lesser can't know, because it's like the lesser knows, but it can't be known that he doesn't know. So once you put him on blast and ask him on a public record, where they got to answer on a public record, or they don't even have to answer, you just telling them and recording the fact that you told them is proof that they have knowledge of it. You walk up in that, or you don't have to walk up in there, but you send a letter, you walk up in there, whatever you feel comfortable with according to your levels of study. You go up in there, you send your correspondences to them, however you send them, they receive it, and you're sitting there telling them, hey, I have reason to believe that the certification that you're attempting to adjudicate with regards to is false. The reason being, there is no record, there is no handwritten letter by me on the record proving that I knew that I wasn't going to be treated like the owner, proving that I stated it was going to be used in the functions of a public office, proving that, what else you had to prove there? Under penalty of perjury with a signature on it.
Under penalties of perjury?
Yeah, that doesn't exist.
Jesus
Half the time, the tickets that they give you aren't under penalty of perjury.
Absolutely.
I think I'm going to yield there, though.
All right, let's do it, man. You can stop your screen share. Let's close on out, bro. It's on you. I've been doing my thing of just sharing, share.
I'll finish reading this definition real quick.
What'd you say?
I'll finish reading this definition real quick.
All right, I yield.
The lesser must have no knowledge that certification is false. An agreement meets the requirements of this subparagraph if the lesser does not know that the certification described in subparagraph C1 is false. What is C1? Boom. Is that written statement separately signed, under which the leasee certifies under penalty of perjury that it intends that more than 50% of the use of the property. So that means if only 25% of it it still doesn't meet the requirements. Oh no, I only use my conveyance 49% of its usage in the performance of public office. So no, the certification is false.
Period. So that's why I asked, bro, can you please bring up Title 26 United States Code 7701 H2C1? And that's what we just completed with, bro. I yield, man. That was freaking perfect. Perfect.
Islam, let me relieve this. Excellent,
man. I mean, close on out, bro. Please, just go ahead, do your thing, man. I'm here, man.
Shout out to everybody in the chat.
Yeah, let me go double check. Let's see if somebody said anything else there, man. Let's see. Give me 2 seconds. Let's see if anyone said anything else. Let me go on back. All right, let's see. All right, and so since Dev Davucci, last thing he said, no wonder I was way off, shaking my head. It's hilarious though. He said, what is the video called you're talking about, going into depth on this code? Well, it's in the Jurisprudence gem, Dev Davucci. It's in the what is it called, man? Traffic something? What is it?
It's in the traffic class, traffic blocking.
Yeah, traffic blocking. If you're not a part of the Jurisprudence gem, then you're gonna have to become a part of the Jurisprudence gem. I mean, just DM us, man. If you haven't, because we've had Malika on before and showed people what the Jurisprudence gem actually is, right? However, traffic blocking is one of the donation classes, so you'll have to exchange some form of energy for that. But it's a video that's not live, I don't think. It might be live. Keith might have that live, because I know he was on Facebook when he was actually going over these things. However, Mother Sahar says indeed with an exclamation point. Mother Carmisha says peace and love, Moors. I self-law am master, indeed. And Mother Sahar says peace and love. And then we have, oh shit, hold on, I didn't mean to do that. Cancel. Dev DeVucci says, good build. And Mother Sahar says, gratitude to you both with an exclamation point. Yes. So, guys, I mean, it's definitely in traffic blocking. As we said before, we had Mother Malika on, we had posted Lawful Living. So with that being said, you know, you can DM Brother Aura at ARAH_MUABA_BEY at Instagram, as well as on TikTok. That's the same way on TikTok too, right? And you can DM which I'm, you know, doing the administration for 7 Hill Star on Instagram and TikTok. So you can just, you know, the @ symbol, the number 7 HEALSTAR. Right, because what we respect what Malika's doing at the Jurisprudence Gym, and she's not really looking for a bunch of people to come. It's like, are you going to be a jurisprudence warrior? You want to come in here and actually do something? You know what I'm saying? Because I and Brother Aura, we got our start, and we continue to stay, as you can see, at rvbaypublications.com, because we are student and staff, all righty, pertaining to Moor's Heritage and History School. So this is why we do what we do, because we are upholding you know, what we're about, and that is enforcing the Constitution. And in order to change the people, you must change their literature, quoting Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali, doing corporate religious activity, being Prophet Noble Drew Ali. So that's why it's not like it's a secret or we're not telling. It's just that, you know, sometimes you just get people that just want to be a part of something. It's not you, Deb. I'm just saying this is why we just kind of just go about it the way we do. Is like, look, man, this is the spot where you need to go. It's been mentioned before. I even said it, you know, a few times today in this broadcast. So that's why it's like, even though some things can get said in the broadcast, sometimes, you know, the excitement of the actual live stream actually, you know, it can, you know, get in the way of what I actually said, where we are going. And every Tuesday and Thursday, there's a live class with the Jurisprudence Gym. We call it the Jurisprudence Gym. That's what we call Lawful Living. However, with that being said, every Tuesday and Thursday is what they call Bible study, right? And when you go and you've actually, you know, joined in the Zoom, and you see now, it used to be like, what, 50, 60 people. Now it's up to like anytime it's like 80 to 90 people showing up. And it's like,
it's getting up there.
Oh, what'd you say?
It's getting up there.
Yeah, it definitely is. So now it's like, whoa, like, okay. And then you'll see, like, Malika's not playing. Keith and Bobby's not playing. And that's why I like going there, because it's like seeing prophecy manifesting, because Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, I'm going to force the European to tell the truth. And I'm not going to front. Like, our Albion sons, Keith and Bobby, be on it. I mean, be on it. However, Malika's not playing. So, you know what I mean? So it's Mother Malika's platform. You guys have seen Mother Malika come on before when we invited her. Shout out to Malika. Shout out to Sunny, her daughter, who was assisting her with the Jurisprudence Gym. And again, shout out to Keith and Bobby and all our loved ones there within the Jurisprudence Gym community at Lawful Living. So with that being said, any other questions, comments, and or suggestions? Brother Corey's in there. He's throwing up the Moroccan flags, man. Shout out to the Exalted Cyclops. Bro, tomorrow is the day. Let me stop. Next day is the day. Let me stop. Next degree is the degree. Okay, I'm gonna stop, y'all. I'm gonna stop.
Yeah. Shout out to everyone on YouTube, right? Supreme honors to Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Honors to CM Bey, Charles Mosley Bey.
Indeed.
And everybody else who's helped in the great missionary task of uplifting and following humanity. We're gonna keep doing it. We're gonna keep going strong. We're gonna keep dispelling these spells in people's minds where they believe that they're subject to other people thinking, foreign thinking, right?
Absolutely.
They don't even realize it's foreign thinking. That's the crazy part. They think, oh, this is my way of thinking. This is how I think. Like, no, that's been implanted, socially engineered, right? And then don't forget, guys, what you eat changes the way you think. So
get some CMOS from One Heart Supplements. Go to Instagram, One Heart Supplements, ONEHEARTSUPPLEMENTS. One Heart Supplements. Get your CMOS. Seriously.
And rewind that if you didn't get that.
Correct. Please rewind it, pause. Like O-N-E, play, pause, H-E. You know what I mean? Go ahead. I can go, bro.
Indeed. Get yourself right. Get your mind right. Get your body right. You know what I mean? Get your status right. Remember, we were talking about status, guys. You can't just you can't just transact for some paperwork and think that that's going to help you. That's not going to help you. You better comprehend the paper inside and out, comprehend yourself inside and out, and be able to stand on what you know, right?
Islam,
bro. I yield. I'm gonna say peace.
Man, matter of fact, hold on. Let me give you the host to close out, bro. Seriously, because like I said, we already know AstroCivics Sunday is you, broski, doski. Let's see which one you got open there. Use this one. Boom, make you a host there. Boom, there you go. It's on the phone, I think.
Okay.
All righty. So it's where I'm gonna say my namaste to you all. Islam. Brother R, we went in. Y'all go back and look at this joint, share it with your loved ones. All right, y'all. Islam to you all in the chat. Peace and love.
Peace and love, everybody.